My real name is Rayowa, which means life. But the name I was given later was Amina, meaning to feel safe. But I never did when I was her. I was born in Nigeria. My family was poor. I used to love cooking with my sisters. But my parents couldn't provide enough for us. One day when I was 9, my mom and dad asked me, "Do you want to go to Europe? Live there with your relatives, go to school, you have plenty to eat." I was so excited. When I got off the plane in London, a woman met me. She had her children with her. She didn't smile. She didn't look like my family. I became afraid. We got to her house. She said I had come here with the passport of a girl named Amina, and that is who I was now. She told me I mustn't tell anyone how I came here, or how I work in the house, or I'd never see my family again. It was now my life to clean, look after the children, do the laundry, the shopping, the washing, while she sat all day and drank coffee. If I ever did anything wrong, she'd hit me. She didn't feed me enough food. I worked long hours, and she did not ever buy me new clothing. So I grew ashamed. I wasn't allowed to contact my family. I thought they were dead. Lots of people in our flat knew I was not their child, that I was being treated badly, but no one did anything. I begged to be allowed to go to school. I wanted to learn. She said no. Eventually, she let me go in year 7, but I was always behind. I struggled to learn the language. I was often late to school because of chores, and my teachers would ask to speak to my parents. I would pretend I didn't understand, and there was no phone at home, so everything carried on. My favorite lesson was cooking. I often stayed behind to help with the washing up. I loved being with my teacher. I felt safe. She used to say to me, "You're a fantastic cook." One day, I told my friend what was happening at home. I just couldn't do it anymore. She said to me, "Tell Miss, she can help you." So I did. I found the courage to speak, and it all poured out. Social services took me from that house where I was a slave, and I was placed in a good family. I was 14, and my name is Rayowa.
Modern slavery is thriving for a number of reasons. One of the reasons that it's thriving is because there is consumer demand for the products of exploitation, whether those be people or items that are produced, textiles, fruit, whatever it may be.
Of course, modern slavery is one of the most lucrative crime types that we have. With drugs, people sell them once. With a person, they can be exploited multiple times. So financially, for the perpetrators, it makes financial sense. There's also issues around vulnerability. So, of course, if people are increasingly kind of going through the gaps, whether it's relating to homelessness or mental health, relationship breakdowns, war, movement of asylum seekers. Those are all issues that perpetrators can exploit.
And particularly in a time when people are economically challenged, it's difficult to encourage people to look beyond a price tag, to think about why a price has been set at the rate that it has, and to consider the impact of their own choices on the people who are involved in making something.
Another reason that modern slavery thrives is because there's a systematic failure, really, in all kinds of ways. We live in a society where there's so much anxiety. We're all understandably nervous about how am I going to survive, can I pay my bills, what life is going to be like for me, that it's very easy not to look up and see what else is going on and who might be hurting and suffering.
Victims may not come forward, in fact very rarely come forward, for a whole host of reasons. Some of those reasons include, I've dealt with victims who absolutely don't see themselves as victims. If you don't think there's help out there, I've had conversations with victims who have absolutely no comprehension of what social services are.
One of the things that really saddens me is when the systems don't work properly and people don't report, think maybe somebody else is going to do it. So, for example, someone in a church might think, actually, I only see this person once a week, or I've only seen them once, or maybe that was just a one-off that I noticed that. So really important that actually we are doing something with that information. We're not colluding, we're not covering stuff up, we're bringing this darkness out into the light. And modern slavery is a form of abuse for adults under the Care Act and comes under the different categories of abuse for children, so it's clearly fits under safeguarding. So safeguarding isn't something that just experts and specialists need to know about, it is something that absolutely everybody needs to have a basic awareness of what to look out for and how to respond, and in that way we can make our communities a lot safer.